Hey, what's up, all my witches out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm back with another episode review of The Owl House because I just really love this series. It's so fun to talk about. I could just talk into the void for hours on end about this series. It's so much fun. But let's jump into the review of episode 13, The First Day, as Luz is freaking out over a presentation she has to do and Ida is encouraging her, as it is an entrance exam for her getting into Hexside School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. I don't remember if that's the actual title, but it's all Disney at the end of the day, with Bump not really knowing if humans can perform magic. But Luz shows off her glyph-based abilities, which, while are actually Bump is kind of surprised by, but he's just like, is that enough to really get you into this school? So Luz tries to do a little razzle dazzle, but she just kind of trips all over herself. But Bump is just like, not the worst thing I've ever seen. You're in. She's just like, yeah, of course. He would have gone through all this trouble if Luz wasn't going to be in the school. So, Luz has her first day and is freaking out, actually wanting to make a good first impression since it's going to be her first time. Well, it'll be the first time she's making an impression at this school. Back at middle school, things didn't go too well, so she wants a good do over, because not everyone really gets that. Anita says, no worries, you'll be fine. And, she's very excited about all of it. Thrilled to be here, thrilled to have a fun adventure, meeting up with her, not girlfriend, but soon to be girlfriend, Amity, who welcomes her to Hexside. King has stowed away in Luz's backpack because he can scrounge for food like a raccoon around the premises. And Luz meets up with Gus and Willow. Meanwhile, in Principal Bump's office, there's apparently been a mysterious attack at Glandis High. Well, Glandis School. I don't think it's a high school, but Glandis School, the rival school of Hexside, where various students and staff have been drained of their magic. That'll be important for later. And when Luz comes in to tell Principal Bump that ultimately she's kind of chosen every track, she doesn't want to stick to one, Principal Bump tells her that's not an option. That at this school, you stick to one thing and only one thing. But they did used to have a way of choosing what track people would get into with something called the choosy hat, which is very much like the sorting hat from Harry Potter. Unfortunately, that's where the similarities end, as the choosy hat had a taste for human flesh. Well, witchling flesh, I guess you could say. But because Principal Bump also needs repairs to the school because of basically everything that Luz has done in the past 3 weeks of her being on the boiling isle, and every time she comes to Hexside, there's some kind of damage done. So he needs funding from the Emperor's Coven in order to pay for the repairs. And he doesn't want to have a wild cannon going off while the inspector from the Emperor's Coven comes in to look the place over. So he ultimately chooses Luz to be in the potions track, which makes sense. That was Ida's track, and she lives with Ida, who mixes a lot of potions. I was talking about that last episode review. Why not teach her potion brewing? So she's put in the potion track and goes to Potion 101. Unfortunately, she thinks about the fact that this is all she's actually going to be able to do, and she's especially taken out of the moment where she notices Willow and someone from the Oracle track engaging in essentially a Pokemon battle with their abilities. It's kind of cool. So when she sees the Oracle track girl put her crystal ball back, Luz immediately goes in to just give it a look over, just see what it's about, only for Principal Bump to spot her and immediately put her in the detention track, which she'll end up in for the remainder of the semester, which will kind of conflict with her needing to go back to the human realm and all that good stuff. which she's very taken aback by. And when she tries to make friends with the other kids in the detention track, she ends up getting in trouble for that as well. Meanwhile, King ends up stumbling into a classroom, and when he notices the power that being a teacher has, he's all in on it. Meanwhile, Luz ends up being spotted by Willow and Gus, begging them to get her out of that place. However, one of the girls, Vinny, in the detention track, shows Luz something special, a secret passageway to somewhere special. The, what was it? The a secret room of shortcuts. I can't remember that name for some reason, but it's a nice little like side dimension almost that leads to all kinds of places. Vinny is in here along with Gerbo and Barkus. There we go. Gerbo and Barkus are the names. And they welcome Luz, feeling that she's a fellow troublemaker. And these doors lead to every place and any place all across the school, with Luz ending up listening in on a discussion Amity is having with herself about with her feeling a little conflicted with Luz coming to the school because, well, let's be honest. Amity is mad gay for Luz, and she doesn't know how to handle it. Like, full on, she's having a gay meltdown right now, and I am all for it. They also show off the founder of the Secret Hall of Secrets, or the uh, Secret Room of Shortcuts. There we go. Told you I can't remember that name for shit. But they show off the founder, the Lord of the Calamity, whose visage is painted over by graffiti and the like. Which I'm just like, oh, that's Ida. That's totally Ida. Calamity in Hexside, it's Ida. Like seriously, and I love it. I just love it. I would pay money to see the adventures of little troublemaker Ida with her fiery red, well, orange hair. But they're actually able to peek into various different classes, and they use that time to actually learn different tracks, as that was actually what they ended up getting in trouble for, with Gerbo trying to mix the plant and abomination track together, Barkus trying to mix potions and oracle, uh, with really morbid results, and Vinny trying to mix healing and bestiary, which, man, her little griffin baby was a real good helper. Principal Bump should have let that one pass. And they actually try to accept Luz as one of their own, feeling a spirited kinship with her. But when Viney ends up overhearing Gus and Willow talk about how Luz really feels about the tension track, feeling that she doesn't belong there, ultimately they feel that she betrayed their trust, that she's not truly one of them. Which I'm kind of calling BS. It feels like forced tension between them. It's just like, she didn't know any of this was going on, or that she had such a kinship with you guys. But Gus and Willow managed to sneak Luz out of detention as the Emperor's Coven inspector comes to inspect Hexside Academy. Ugh, I think I said inspect too many times there, but whatever. So Principal Bump has Amity show off her skills for the inspector, only for the inspector to want to get a closer look and see how well Amity does in combat, only for her to reveal herself to be a magic-consuming monster, taking away the power of Principal Bump when he tries to protect Amity and taking Amity down as well, just as King walks in to see the carnage, as the beast makes its way out and runs into Willow, Gus, and Luz, going on the attack, completely draining Willow and Gus of their magic. But when it comes to Luz's magic, oh, it can't and consume that because, paper cuts in your mouth and all that. That would probably be like, oh god, no, too, if I got a whole bunch of paper right in my maw. So Luz manages to escape with Willow and Gus and take them back to the secret room of shortcuts. Oh my god, I finally remembered it. Yes! Third time's the charm, motherfucker. As she tries to beg the detention track kids for help. And Viney realizes that this creature is something called a greater basilisk. More Harry Potter references, I swear to God. Like, stuff that would make the Marauders proud from Harry Potter. But Finney states that this greater basilisk should have been extinct and shouldn't even be around anymore, as it consumes magic. And in a magical world, yeah, not the best thing around. But Luz does her best to talk the detention track kids into helping out, despite the fact that if Principal Bump spots what they're doing, them mixing magic, he'd probably kick them out of school. But Luz is just like, forget that. We're here to help our friends. So Luz lures the greater basilisk over to Viney, who uses her abilities to trap it with her beast taming, opens up a door to the secret room of shortcuts with the help of Gerbo and his abomination and his plant magic, sending the greater basilisk plummeting right onto the stage floor as Barkus reads the thing's palm for a moment, and it's just like, yeah, you gonna die. As the abomination and the griffin release some sandbags onto the greater basilisk, which causes the beast to release all the magic it consumed, sending it right back to its owners. Whew, man, that was intense. Intense and fun little moment. And with the day saved, Luz congratulates all of the detention crack kids on a job well done. Well, except for Principal Bump being pissed off about not just them mixing magic, but their secret hideout in the secret room of shortcuts. I'm really taking to saying that, honestly. But Luz stands up for the detention track kids, stating that they saved Hexside. They did what they did only because of the dual learning that they've done. And knowing that Principal Bump really wants that money from the coven, she ultimately says that it's only through kids like them that he'll actually be able to truly teach them. It's what's the point of rebuilding if you're not even going to give these kids a chance? And Principal Bump buys into it, once again showing that Principal Bump deep down is a really good guy. He's a little stuck in his ways, but he's not unwilling to change. So he decides that all of them will be granted dual enrollment in two different tracks. But when it comes to Luz, she just can't pick one or two. And during a magical girl sequence, we see that Principal Bump has decided that she will be enrolled in as many tracks as she likes, revealing that at one point there actually was one student he considered letting be in multiple tracks, and that's none other than the Lord of Calamity herself, Edalyn Clawthorn. I'm this moment was so great because I'm just like, I knew it! I knew it was Ida! It's just like they telegraphed it, but I was so happy to see that precocious little face. Like, the Lord of Calamity indeed. We really do need an episode dedicated to little Ida. I would eat that up. And even Luz is just like, yeah, I should have known as much. Like, not, it's a moment of shock, but once she kind of thinks about it for a second, it's just like, of course it was Ida. Of course. Meanwhile, as the events of the day wind down, Principal Bump notes that he does believe that ultimately the Emperor's Coven did send this beast after them, but he has no proof of them. But he's interrupted by the fact that King is still hanging around, being a pseudo teacher for the most part, and Bump runs him out of the school. So, a fantastic episode. I loved seeing Luz in school. Her following in the footsteps of her mentor Ida was great. And I love the fact that while she is a troublemaker like Ida, it's for all different reasons. Whereas Ida was just rebelling against the fact that she could only be in one track, and she just wanted more because she created that whole club of, the secret room of secrets, because secret room of shortcuts, because she just wanted to be able to learn more. And that's why she feels like she's the most powerful witch on the Boiling Isles, because she wasn't held down by one choice. But ultimately we get to see here that either because Ida has such an affinity for so much magic, Principal Bump was either open to letting Ida learn more tracks, or over time, with Ida gone, he thought about possibly letting that slide at some point later down the line. So, honestly, Bump just continues to be a rather righteous dude, and I'm very interested to see more of Luz's adventures at Hexside School. But tell me your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. What was your favorite part? What do you think about Ida being the Lord of Calamity? And what other misadventures do you think she got into as she was in Hexside? And will Luz end up following in her footsteps one way or the other? Now, comment section below. If you like this video, leave me a like, subscribe, bell, whatever you feel like doing. It's all up to you. I ain't your daddy. And until the next video, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye bye.